Hi there, you're welcome to another economics class. My name remains Mr. Emmanuel. In this session, we will be going further than in our last session. In our last class, we refreshed our memory on the concept of demand and supply. Today we'll be looking at the difference between change in quantity demanded and change in demand. We'll look at similar scenario in supply and we'll wrap it up with types of demand and types of supply. So let's start with demand. Change in quantity demanded refers to movement along the demand curve. Some people use it interchangeably. It is the movement along the demand curve that is influenced only by price. That is, when price changes, the quantity demanded also changes. This causes the movement along a single demand curve. Take a look at this diagram. When price changes between 5 and 10, quantity demanded also changes between 30 and 20 and makes the demand curve to have movement along that curve from point A to point B. All the movement along this curve is called movement along the demand curve or change in quantity demanded. And change in quantity demanded is caused by the price of that commodity. Change in demand, however, is a complete shift of the demand curve, usually caused by all other factors or determinants of demand. I'm sure you recall the factors that determine or affect demand that we mentioned in our last class. So the factors that causes a change in demand or a shift in demand includes income of the consumer, price of other related commodities, expectation of future change in price, availability of credit facilities, and so on. When the demand curve shifts outward, that is an increase in demand. In this diagram, when the demand curve shifts from D1, D1 to D2, D2, we have an increase in demand, not increase in quantity demanded. Increase in demand. In this second diagram, when the demand curve shifts from D2, D2 to D1, D1, we have a decrease in demand. I hope you understand the differences now between changes in quantity demanded and changes in demand. Similarly, changes in quantity supplied, it refers to the movement along a supply curve, and this is caused by changes in price of that commodity. In this diagram, the movement along the demand curve as price changes and the quantity supply adjusts refers to the changes in quantity supplied. However, changes in supply refers to a complete shift in the supply curve. In this diagram, when the supply curve shifts outward, we have an increase in supply. And in this case, when supply curve shifts inward, we have a decrease in supply. Supply curve is caused by other factors of supply except price. And these factors include cost of production, government policy, taxation, season, or expectation of future change in price. Quite understandable. Now let's look at different types of demand. The way some of us demand for a bottle of Pepsi is different from a baker who is demanding for a bag of flour. That means we have different types of demand. So the first type of demand is a complementary or joint demand. This is the demand for a commodity that is used along with another commodity. And so when you are demanding for commodity A, you demand for commodity B as well. Can you think of an example? Petrol and car, or petrol and generator, or tea and milk, right? Those goods go together. When you buy one, you would get the other. The second type of demand is competitive or substitute demand. This is the demand for a product that has a close substitute that can serve the same purpose. And so, if you demand for one, you won't have to demand for the second. Usually, when the price of one increases, it causes demand for the second product to increase because people would no longer buy the expensive one and go towards the other one that has a relatively lower price. An example of goods like this include Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola, or Milo and Bonvita, or butter and margarine. The examples are endless. The third type of demand is the composite demand. This type of demand is the demand for a product that can be used for so many things. And so, if you are demanding it for one use, another person may be demanding it for another use. Take for example, when you demand for a bag of flour, you could want to use it to make bread, or cake, or snacks like meat pie and fish roll. Also, when you demand for cocoa powder, you could want to use it for beverage, or you want to use it for baking. So these goods have composite uses. You have more than one uses. Finally is derived demand. This is the demand for a product, not for the satisfaction you get from that product, but because of what you can use that product for. Take for example, when you demand for flour, you don't use flour and get satisfaction just by having the flour. You derive for flour because there is a demand for bread or cake or any other product that you use it for. When you demand for a car or petrol, it's not because of that product. It's because you want to either power your generator and the light that you get, or because you want to put it in your car and move from one place to another. So when you demand for a product, because of what that product can be used for, then that is called a derived demand. Now let's look at the types of supply. Also, we have joint or complementary supply. This is when a producer produces two commodities in the same process. So if they increase production for one, they will be increasing the production of the second. Take for example, our refineries. When you increase the production of petrol, you are most likely going to increase the production of kerosene, diesel, liquefied gas, or other petroleum products. These products are produced together. So when you increase one, the other would increase. The second type of supply is competitive or substitute supply. This is the supply of a product that has a close substitute. So you are supplying a product and there is another product that can do almost the same thing as your product. So examples include Close-Up and My toothpaste or Maclean. Finally, we have composite supply. This is the supply of a good that has more than one uses. When the supply of the goods for one use increases, it would affect the supply of the goods for another use. Take for example, you have an expanse of land. If you supply some for farming, it will affect the supply of land for building. Or if you have a bag of flour and you are baking cake with it, it will reduce the quantity of flour you have to make either bread or snacks. Those are the types of supply. I believe you understood every aspect of this class and you appreciate it. Thank you for your attention. I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Bye.